The Alberta Foothills have always carried a silence that feels older than memory itself. Long before highways traced the land and fences divided the prairie, wild horses ruled these rolling hills beneath the vast Canadian sky. Their hooves shaped the earth, their breath mingled with mountain wind, and their spirit became part of the history of the West. It was early autumn when I rode into that country wild horse country, where legends still whisper between the trees. The sky was a pale silver blue, and the air carried the scent of pine and distant snow from the Rockies. My horse Jasper moved steadily beneath me, his ears flicking at every unfamiliar sound. He knew this land better than I did. The foothills stretched endlessly, waves of golden grass rolling toward dark forests. Somewhere beyond those trees, bands of wild horses lived, free descendants of animals that had escaped ranches generations ago, or perhaps strays left behind by settlers long forgotten. Over time, they became something different. Not domestic, not owned, not tame. They belonged to the land. I wasn't expecting to see one that day. The encounter happened suddenly. We had just crossed a shallow stream when Jasper froze. His body stiffened, muscles tight beneath the saddle. I followed his gaze, and there he stood. A stallion. He emerged from the edge of the forest like something carved from history itself. His coat was deep chestnut, almost burning red in the afternoon sun. His mane was tangled by wind and wilderness. Scars marked his shoulder, pale lines against dark muscle, evidence of battles fought for territory and survival. He wasn't afraid. He stepped forward slowly, head high, nostrils flared. The air between us felt electric. Jasper shifted nervously beneath me, but I kept my hands calm on the reins. For a long moment, no one moved. The stallion studied us. Not with panic, not with aggression, but with something older: calculation, curiosity, memory. In his dark eyes was a reflection of centuries. The mustangs of the plains, the horses that carried indigenous warriors across this land, the animals that pulled wagons westward into uncertainty. He was not just a horse. He was history breathing. The wind lifted his mane, and I noticed how thin he was beneath the power. Life in the wild is beautiful, but it is not gentle. Winters here are merciless. Food disappears beneath snow. Wolves move silently across frozen ground. Only the strongest survive, and this stallion had survived. He took another step closer. Jasper let out a low warning sound, but I remained still. Something told me this was not a moment for dominance. It was a moment for respect. The stallion suddenly let out a sharp, echoing neigh that rolled across the hills like thunder. It wasn't a threat, it was a declaration. A reminder that this land was his, that he answered to no rope, no barn, no human hand. Then, from the tree line behind him, movement. A small band of marais and young horses emerged cautiously. They watched from a distance. This was his family, his responsibility, his reason for the scars. He turned his head briefly toward them, then back to us. It was clear. He was measuring risk. In that instant, I felt an overwhelming emotion, not fear, but humility. I was a visitor here, a rider passing through. He was the guardian of something ancient. The stallion pawed the ground once, sharply. Dust rose into the sunlight. Jasper trembled, but did not bolt. I slowly loosened the reins, signaling that we meant no challenge. I lowered my gaze not in submission, but in acknowledgement. The stallion's ears flicked forward. For several heartbeats, time felt suspended. The wind quieted. Even the birds seemed still. Then he made his choice. With a powerful toss of his head, he turned away from us. Muscles rippled beneath his coat as he trotted back toward his band. The marais shifted. The young horses pressed close. He positioned himself between them and us one final time. And then they ran. The sound of their hooves thundered across the foothills, fading into the forest like a memory dissolving into time. I sat there long after they were gone. Jasper relaxed slowly beneath me, exhaling deeply. The world seemed quieter but also larger. I realized then that what I had witnessed was not simply wildlife. It was resistance, survival, freedom in its purest form. Wild horses in Alberta have faced controversy and calling, debates over land use and conservation. Some call them feral, others call them heritage. But standing there in that golden silence, I understood something beyond politics. They are living symbols. The stallion had not attacked. He had not fled blindly. He had assessed, protected, and endured. He carried the weight of his band, his bloodline, and the land itself. As I turned Jasper toward home, I felt changed. We often think we are masters of nature, that because we build fences and name territories, we own them. But in the Alberta foothills, ownership feels temporary. The land remembers its first riders. And sometimes, if you are quiet enough, it lets you witness its guardians. I never saw that stallion again. But whenever the wind moves through tall grass, I remember the way he stood unbroken, untamed, and absolutely free. And I know that for one brief moment in history, our paths crossed in a place that belonged not to man, but to the wild.